First, I will address why the Democrats are good, then the flaws with the current political system, and lastly, my opponent's alternative. First, my opponent again concedes that global warming is the biggest problem. The Howard evidence indicates the majority of Democrats support shifting to renewable energy. Howard also indicates that over 80% of Democratic voters support action on climate change. Even if they are bad theoretically, the Democrats are good specifically because they are the only chance of stopping climate disasters, which means he can win every single argument he has made, and I still win the debate. Second, my opponent says politics is flawed. Democracy makes these things inevitable because elections are inevitable. His answer to this argument is that constituencies support bad things, but this contradicts his alternative that we should listen to the people. Also, it is irrelevant. Howard says voters support action against global warming. Even if politicians are bad, voters can kick them out of office. Electoral motive makes politicians responsive to their voters. He says flip-flopping is bad, but Obama should flip-flop if it means beating Romney. My opponent cites Keystone but has no evidence. He says no voter trust, but that's irrelevant to Democrats stopping climate change. Democratic policies are the change people want. That's Howard. Asking for leeway in this instance is not a reason I should lose. His analogy to politics makes zero sense. It is a question of fairness. I should get a chance to respond to his arguments if he was previously inaudible. Lastly, he suggests an alternative of letting the people speak. Voting, which happens in the status quo, does just that. He does not explain why this stops global warming. It also contradicts his other argument that was highlighted above. His alternative is a form of totalitarianism. I may have no evidence, but it is a double bind. Either people still vote, and the alternative doesn't solve the problems he isolates because voting creates the electoral motive, or there is no voting and people's voices aren't heard. His example of the UK makes no sense because it doesn't apply. People still vote there. My opponent makes good arguments about the flaws of the current system, but does an insufficient job explaining them in the context of my reasoning that the Democrats are good. My opponent also does not spend enough time explaining his proposed alternative system or how it would have the capacity to deal with the problems of the future. Don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good. He has not answered my arguments in a specific enough way, which is why he loses this debate.